personally that everything happens for a reason. Just don't see why everything happens to me. And I believe with a certain unequivocal surety that to every problem there's a solution. With that solution exists a problem that only you seem to see. I just don't see why you never needed me here. You ever continue to hold me near. I was a scrapbook of all your fears. For your misfortunes I would share. Sitting and thinking, did you ever love me at all? Was I just another safety net set up for your fall? Did you ever really need me? Did you just need someone to drunkenly call? Or was I ever really anything to you at all? I was talking to a brick wall, and hashing out my problems. I was talking to my mom, the same thing. Was I ever anything at all? Was I just another problem hung on your wall? Was I a trophy to show to your friends? Certainly I know that I was just your means to an end. I perceive you as one of the worst things that's ever happened to me. You're inept of my feelings. You became a disease. You're the undisputed champ of always cramping my style, making stupid little problems always last for a while. Had a funny little way of consistently ruining my day. It's not only for dinner that I always pay. Been sitting here and thinking about killing myself. Don't have to deal with you. Be a photo on your shelf, maybe a picture tacked up sideways, maybe holding onto the wall, wondering was I ever really anything to you at all? Talking to a brick wall and hashing out my problems. I was talking to my mom, the same thing. Was I ever anything at all? Was I just another problem hung on your wall? Was I a trophy serving your friends? Well, certainly I know I was just your means to an end. I'm talking to my mom, the same thing. Was I ever anything at all? Was I just another problem hung on your wall? Was I a trophy to show to your friends? Certainly I know that I was just your means to an end.
Alright, that was Alex's song called There's Not a Single Bad Bone in My Body, nor is there a single happy song on this record. Very long title, which is which I like.
It's actually Sad Bone.
Sad. Did I say bad bone?
You said Bad Bone.
Okay, I'm gonna say it again. There's not a single sad bone in my body. Oh, because we were making jokes about bad bone.
Yeah.
All right, there's not a single sad bone in my body, nor is there a single happy song on this record. That is what the song is called. All right. So Alex, thank you for coming over.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Of course, yeah. Thank you. All right. Question I ask everybody: do you remember? I guess. A moment or series of incidents that led you to start writing songs, or what made you want to start writing songs?
So, I mean, I guess it's going to trace all the way back to, probably not even middle school, probably before that. Maybe like even back to like elementary school. I was really listening to like a lot of Dragon Force and like classic rock stuff. Dragon Force mostly, and I was like wanting to be like, oh yeah, like I want to be on stage like doing that insane nonsense. Then I realized that's totally otherworldly and is so niche, and I didn't want to do it. But it kind of led me to wanting to write more songs about how I feel about people.
Okay.
And that was kind of what like kicked me off into what I am into now.
Okay, good. Yeah, because I definitely heard. Even though you said you didn't really want to do it, but I definitely heard a lot of Dragon Force in the song that you played.
So much influence there. I didn't listen to them on the way up here.
It got real technical and just kind of insane. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
So what is this song essentially about?
You're fine. So to kind of explain it, it's the last song on my record coming out, which. The record that I wrote encloses kind of a time in my life from the past 6 months that I didn't feel really at home with myself and felt very empty. And there's just two really good ways to put it. Not at home with myself and empty. And what I found my strength in songwriting is personifying my emotions through like creating these characters that represent how I feel as if like there's people outside affecting me. So this song kind of like clinches together everything I covered in the record and kind of just is probably the closest to putting a exact image with how I felt by connecting everything to just like a really bad girlfriend. And that's just sort of where I went with this. And yeah, that's sort of what the song describes.
Okay, so that's really cool.
Thank you.
It's really interesting. So. Some of the lines in here kind of, I guess, references a girl. So am I?
It references a character.
Oh, a character.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
No one specific.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I was just my own clarification.
You're good, yeah.
Sure. Okay, so let's get into this. The first chunk, I guess I'll call it a chunk.
Sure. Yeah.
Is I believe personally that everything happens for a reason. I just don't see why everything happens to me. What's that?
Actually, is it okay if we pair that with the next chunk because they go together? I wrote them at the same time. Yeah.
The next part is I believe with a certain unequivocal surety that to every problem there's a solution, but with that, I was reading this when you were playing it. You forgot some words, but that solution, if I remember it right, with that solution. There
exists a problem that only you seem to see.
Okay, yes.
I missed a few words. Okay.
That's okay.
It's. I mean, obviously, it's very wordy. It's kind of hard. I usually try to not summarize, but like cut it a little short when I'm playing, because it just drags on. So that chunk, I actually came up with. I remember the exact time. I lifeguarded for the last few summers, and I was sitting in a lifeguard chair inside the pool, kind of like humming to myself. And one of our roving guards came around, and he was like, "Hey, you need anything?" I was like, "Yeah, I need you to sit here for a second so I can go write something down." And I went in and pulled this like scrap piece out of my locker because my phone was dead, and wrote those lyrics down. And I guess kind of, like I said, this whole song ties everything together. And that's kind of the intro. That the two themes in the record are, "Oh God, why does everything happen to me?" and also. Again, personifying into a character of someone inherently affecting me. So that's kind of the introduction to that person. Whereas it's like, oh, this could be right. This is like the right answer, but at the same time, that person's going to see there's this problem with that right answer. But even though it still exists as a solution, and that person, the character I'm trying to create. is, I guess, like the type of person to always find problems with potential solutions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quick question. What do you mean when you say everything happens to you?
So, I don't know, by what I meant by the line, it's kind of hard to pick. I mean, it's obviously a cliche. Let's start there. It is a cliche.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of that old woe is me, and I kind of meant to exaggerate that whole woe is me type of feeling, because I don't try to hit that. I try to avoid that as much as I can, I think is what I'm trying to say. And with that line, I kind of wanted to, like, personify, just make sure, like, hey, it's the end of the record, make sure you got this motif in it. Is kind of why I thought that fit in there pretty well. That being said, though, I wrote that line separately from the song, and then when I was writing structure for the song, I came back to those two stanzas and found, like, oh yeah, this fits in well.
Okay. Do you write your lyrics first, or are you writing like little bits first, and then when you get good music, are you coming back and adding to them?
It's sort of a combination. It's here and there. Some songs I'll come up with one line, and then I'll write the entire thing sitting right there, and then I'll write, like, I'll have like I said, a structure to it, like kind of how I want it to sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll come back to it and find specific chords and everything. This one, I wrote those two stanzas, and then I wrote the chorus, and then I put them together, and then came up with the rest of the structure. And that's how that one itself was constructed. That being said, there's ones where they're just chopped together, like thrown, all the little sections I wrote, and they're like, oh yeah, these all fit together. And then by that kind of creates sort of a song that covers a lot of information but doesn't go very deep. And then there's songs that don't cover a lot of information but go very deep into the subject.
Okay.
Per se.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. So the next, I guess I'll read the next two parts. I just don't see why if you never needed me here, why you ever held me near. I was a scrapbook of your fears, and for your misfortunes I would surely cheer. Go ahead. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So personifying the type of person, and it's hard to say that this isn't reflectant of, like, other relationships I've been in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a personal tie to a couple of these lines. But there was a period of my life when I was in a relationship that I felt as if I was treated as if the person I was with didn't actually like me that much. I wasn't sure why they were with me. So that's kind of another thing I deal with on the record, and a couple of the other songs, and little pieces here and there. And that's kind of what that line is specifically dealing with. Okay,
great. Next couple parts. I don't have any questions for that. Next couple parts.
Give me all the details.
That's what I want you to tell me what it's about.
Yeah,
and
of course.
I'll be like, very cool, very cool.
I'm happy to tell you what it's about.
Next couple parts is I've been sitting here and thinking, did you ever love me at all, or was I a safety net set up for your fall? Did you ever really need me, or did you just, or
did you just need someone
to drunkenly call? Yes, thank you.
So, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead. So yeah, is that the part that's maybe about, like, is that a specific girlfriend you might have had that you're maybe drawing that from?
No. That being said, I really hate when people call me when they're just absolutely plastered. I think it's really annoying. It's just awful. And it is like a reoccurring motif. So it's nothing like too emotional, too deep there. It's just that, God, I hate when people drunkenly call me. And again, there's been points in my life where I just felt like I was just a safety net for someone else. Did you ever really ever really love me?
Mm-hmm.
Or was I just like your safety net? Like you had no other choice. And that's kind of like dealing with that emotion of feeling like not at home, that I'm not in the right place. Yeah.
I like this.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I promise that I wrote this and then I thought about it later. It's just kind of how I work per se. I'll write something out and then I'll realize oh wow, that actually is incredibly deep and it has a lot of ties to personal things. When I try to make this not personal, which is something I've always kind of wanted to do, that I've never wanted to for a long time I did write very personally, and the content I was creating I wasn't proud of, I didn't like. It was just it was very just, oh, woe is me, like this is terrible in this part of my life, this is terrible in that part of my life, like everything's awful. And then I realized when I'm able to depersonalize it a little bit, or find a different way, like I said, how I personify how I feel through creating characters, I feel like that kind of, like I said, depersonalizes a bit. And through that, I think I'm able to create better content, something I'm more proud of.
Okay, I guess you kind of answered my question. I was gonna say, this is my fourth guest.
Yeah.
Some Sean, Mary, and Nick all wrote very personal songs to them. I do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's cool that you don't want to do that. Like,
yeah.
And you said it's because you feel better about, I guess, not writing so personal. What am I trying to ask here?
You're good.
I guess I kind of forgot. I guess I forgot, or I guess I don't know. Maybe I don't know how to put it. I don't want this to come off how it's going to sound.
You're fine.
Why? Why don't you want to? It's kind of write about yourself and maybe write kind of. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like that I like how you're explaining this to me. I think it's very interesting. I guess what made you kind of figure out you wanted to write kind of not about yourself? I mean, you're obviously still drawing in some personal stuff. It's just not like maybe like the super personal stuff. Like you're not going like deep into like your feelings and pulling stuff out and you're going, hey, this is what this looks like, and then you put them back. But you're like going, okay, this is about this guy over here who's not me, but he's a little bit like me. So I guess, why did you want to? So
I guess kind of the example I want to use here is I have a very close friend whose hobby is very much just thinking. He enjoys sitting and thinking, and that's kind of what I enjoy doing. In a writing perspective, I enjoy sitting and thinking about just certain things, and then writing about how to convey them in clever ways. That's kind of how I want to do it. I want to create a product that I'm proud of. Like I said, I didn't do this intentionally. It kind of just started happening. I realized that these are really just personal, but I'm more proud with what I'm making. Whereas with, like I said, the personal stuff, I'm not. It just feels oddly, the personal stuff feels like cheap and overdone, and I can't find good ways to explain it because I really like cliches. So I enjoy taking something maybe less personal, but is able to be talked about or conveyed in a different way. And I guess kind of to delve a bit more into it, I think the most personal song on the record is called Jesus Christ Himself Died in My Back Seat. And it's about my dog. And it's a shorter song, but it traces how I would feel if my dog died. My dog is very much, he's alive and healthy.
Good.
He's kind of pudgy. He's really cute. I realized, again, I remember when I wrote this song, I was talking to a friend who, I think her grandmother recently passed or something, and I was thinking about how I've never had to deal with or was able to like understand how to deal with like a personal loss like that. So I kind of thought about, who's someone I could write about that I think I'd be able to convey like how personal loss would feel. And the first thing that came to my head was my dog, and I was like, I'm gonna write about that. So that's kind of how that came about. So there is a level of personal feeling there, but at the same time, it's a lot of thought. It's a lot of thinking about things. And the title of the record is I've Never Been So in Love with Absolutely Nothing at All. And kind of one of my intended meanings of that is something I very much enjoy doing is thinking about where I'll end up in 5 years, who I'll end up with, who's going to be my wife, like where's that going to end up, and just constantly thinking into like different scenarios of like different people or different like where I would be, and that fondness I have with just that thought and that projection which is in itself inherently nothing, is kind of where I've never been so in love with absolutely nothing at all sort of came from. So, yeah. Was that all clear?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
No.
Once I get going, I get going.
I'm way into that.
Cool.
I think that's
Thank
cool. I think that is cool. Okay, we did those 2 parts.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Now, I think... So now after those 2, was I ever anything to you at all? It goes into the chorus?
The bridge, yeah.
Okay. We're going into the chorus, and I'll read the whole thing. It's like talking to a brick wall, like hashing out my problems by talking to my mom. Real quick, that talking to my mom part, that reminds me of that part in that one line in that Joyce Manor song. You can be your own dad. Okay, that kind of reminded me of that. And there's another. I can't think of it right now, but somebody. It's a Pine Grove song. He's like, I'll talk it out with my dad or something. That's like a line in.
Is that the old record or the new one?
I don't know. I'm not crazy familiar with Pine Grove, but that kind of reminded me of that.
Yeah,
so, all right.
That's an honor because both those bands are wonderful.
They're good. They're good bands.
Actually, the next show I'm playing, I'm covering a Pine Grove song just because I'm playing like a really long set and I don't want to play like a bunch of new songs before they're out. So I'm like, I need to cover something. So the 2 songs I've worked in are Pine Grove's Cadmium and the Jimmy Neutron theme song. So,
very, very cool.
That's because I did it as a joke at one set and everyone loved it. I was like, yeah, it's going to be a regular thing now. So, and it works in really well.
Good. Next part is I have to sit here and think, was I anything at all, or was I a problem you hung on your wall? Was I a trophy you showed to your friends? Most certainly, I know I was just your means to an end.
Yeah.
So is there anything kind of personal in there, or is...
Yeah, that's probably where the song reaches the most. So that kind of tackles the whole not feeling at home with yourself or not feeling at home with where I'm at. And a problem I very much dealt with was feeling constantly a problem. And that wondering of like, why does everyone want me around if I'm just such like a horrible thing? And that's sort of where I came up with the image of a problem that you hung on your wall.
Okay.
I guess that can kind of be traced back to I don't get why like anyone likes me, but I'm very thankful that people do and people like are willing to listen to what I have to say. So
yeah, because you're a very likable guy. You've been sitting here. We've been telling jokes and laughing like the whole time you've been here.
As well, yeah. This has been a wonderful experience. Again, I thank you so much for inviting me into your home and having me here. This is wonderful.
Of course, no, thank you.
But yeah, no, it's something I kind of like struggled with very much in the past 6 months and have kind of been coming like slowly to terms with. And that's where I came up with the image that appears a few times in the record was a problem that you hung on your wall and photo on a shelf and stuff like that. That I don't get. I have trouble dealing with people finding fondness in me when I couldn't find fondness in myself. Yeah, that's probably the best way to describe that.
Yeah, it's good.
And yeah, that's where the whole photo on a wall came from.
Okay. Yeah, the imagery is...
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
There's definitely some big hotel books influence there with the trophy you showed to your friends. There's a line from one of their records. It's I'm
not familiar with them.
I want someone to hold me high as they boast to the sky that they don't need anything. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Real. Like, this is probably the most lyrically heavy song on the record. Hotel Books is like twice this.
Okay.
Their songs are like a book, but
all right.
Really good. No pun intended.
No, it's fine. I got to start asking people like what they're listening to and what I should start listening to. Maybe get a little.
I listen to garbage, so.
Well, okay, real quick. So what were you listening to a lot when you wrote this song? What were you?
Sorority Noise.
Sorority Noise. Okay.
Noise. I think this song sounds a lot like. It's like Nosley or Noisely or something. I don't know how to pronounce it, but off of the Joy Departed record, mm-hmm. I was listening to that record a lot over the summer, and that's kind of where I got the idea for the sound from. I uncoincidentally probably that the chords used in the chorus are definitely chords from an Old Grey song, which is Cam Boucher's other band.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of where I was at whenever I wanted to create this song. I knew I wanted something that sounds a bit angrier. and a bit like grittier, because that's not a prevalent thing on the record. Most of the record is very dreamy or very ambient, and I'm recently tying some field recording into the mix of everything.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope everything sounds really good. I've been gathering pieces for the last few months while I was in school, and I'm going out to Pennsylvania in January to visit my dad, and he lives out in the middle of absolutely nowhere. So it'd be nice to just lock myself away for a week and just record the record
Cool.
and have it all done. But yeah, no, I wanted something. This song and another song on the record are probably the only two angry songs where they involve some grit and some dissonance chords in. So like I said, I wanted something that I want a song at the end to cover everything else on the record, and I feel like having that sonically in the chorus brings that all together.
Yeah, it's pretty smart. It's a good. If this is I'm really curious to hear the rest of the record. If this is the wrap up song, you know, this is all you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no,
I'm just curious what the rest of it's gonna sound like, and what it especially listening for those field recordings. Yeah, all this stuff it's gonna be. Yeah, it's just smart. It's good. It's good stuff.
Like I said though, I definitely wrote all this out and then came up with the sonic ideas later in the set. Honestly, I came up with the field recording idea halfway through last week. I was listening to Sorry. I was just this is, why don't I do this? And then I realized that there's gear I can incorporate into my set that will allow me to do live, make those sounds, the exact sounds you hear on the record, but live come out of my amp. I think I've been looking for something that's kind of a shtick. It's something that makes me oh yeah, no, this dude does this wild thing during his set. This guy has a chicken perform with him or something. Just anything. This guy plays an animal. So I was looking for something
just squeezes a bird.
It's halfway through. But yeah, I was looking for something that was unique and not too hard to do, and I was that would be something that I don't think I've ever heard anyone else do, so why not? So yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Good, yeah, I'm definitely have to come to some shows for sure. All right, next part. Now, real quick, I noticed you forgot to write a part. And I think it's after this. You got to fill me in where it is, because I was looking for it and I didn't see it. I perceive you as one of the worst things. Okay, I perceive you as one of the worst things that ever happened to me. You were inept of my feelings. You became my disease. I'm just gonna keep going.
You're right, yeah.
You were the undisputed champ of cramping my style. That part made me smile a little bit. And making stupid little problems always last for a while. So tell me about that.
So I'm happy that made you smile, because I was really worried. I realized as the songs all came together and I was putting them in order for the record, I was this is so debilitatingly sad. So I'm happy that I was able to write some lines that I thought were perceived as kind of clever and almost borderline comical. That's kind of where I wanted to come in with this whole verse, was just kind of a comical personification of these things that are really, really bad, and this is again reiterating the whole personifying a bad girlfriend, which I think I should probably clarify at this point that I'm not talking about my current girlfriend, because she's wonderful.
Listen, current girlfriend, you're A-okay.
Her name's Miranda. Yeah. Shouts out Miranda. Yeah, she's wonderful.
Cool. Well, good. I'm glad you got a nice little girl going on.
She's not the influence for this record.
Sounds like he has a daughter.
Yeah. Okay, so is this? So after okay, you wrote the last for a while.
Yeah.
And then it goes into I've been sitting here and thinking. There's a part before that.
Yeah.
So what is that part? Because you forgot to write
that. Cramping my style, making. It's.
Oh, sorry. Wait. Before we get there.
You're good. Take your time.
Cramping my style. Now, when you're writing songs, you said sometimes you write little bits of lyrics.
Yeah.
First, do words or little phrases like that come to you, and you're I've never put that in a song before. I'm gonna have to put that in a song.
So,
because I do that. I'm I don't think I've ever used that word before. So I'm like, cool, I'll put that in a song. I'm wondering if you might do the same thing.
I do, but not for that part.
Okay.
Inept. I learned the word inept from another song, what it meant. I'm like, I want to use that. Because I had a different line previously written that I didn't love. It was kind of choppy and awkward. So when I found out what the word inept meant, I was like, I'm going to use that in the song instead. But no, that have you never heard "Cramping My Style"?
No, I have.
Okay, I was gonna say yeah. Cause
listen,
like, I use a few terms.
I like it, and I was like, oh, like I've never put "Cramping My Style." I'm like, cool. Now I'm gonna think about putting "Cramping My Style," and if I do, I'll just call the song Alex
so
or something.
Excited. I'm so excited for next time I go see you and you're like, the song's called "Cramping My Style."
I just think, yeah, it's like there's sometimes like little phrases and words like jump out, and it's like, whoa, like that's cool. I'm gonna have to put that somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So actually, no, that verse I wrote as a whole. I think I don't know where I started with it, but again, like I said, I kind of wanted to reiterate the image of a bad girlfriend in that part. And I thought, why not do it kind of comically? That'd be kind of funny. So I came up with these like little clever lines. I was like, yeah, this is really good. And it's like if you didn't get the fact that like this is like personifying somebody else and like that the characteristics of that person, this is where you need to pick up on it, or like it might be lost. So that was kind of the point in that verse, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That part of the verse. I
yeah,
guess.
that part. So what is the next part after?
So the part after is what is it? You're the undisputed champ of always cramping my style and making stupid little problems always last for a while. You had a funny little way of consistently ruining my day, and it's not only for dinner that I always pay. So that's the cryptic.
Okay.
It's a cryptic encoding.
Is there anything really in there?
Again, no, nothing personal. It was meant to further reiterate that character that's being personified by the song.
Okay, it's good because like hearing you talk about this, I wouldn't have picked up on there being like a character. I'm like, okay, this stuff actually is happening to him, and that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
I mean,
you keep saying that. It's cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I was definitely in a relationship where like. If I weren't able to pay for something, if I was like, oh yeah, like I'm just like between paychecks and or whatever, like the person I was with would be like, oh, you don't pay for anything. I was like, all right, that's fine.
It
was a while ago.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay.
Can I ask you something? How old did you think I was?
20.
Okay, that's what I figured. Yeah.
Is that a thing? Because I'll go eat food with like. Okay, when I was like in like my last serious like relationship, like we split a lot of things. Like she would pay sometimes, I would pay sometimes. We'd split. We don't have to always pay for each other. Now, are you always paying for your girlfriend? Like just not. That's not like. Or does she offer to pay sometimes? I'm just curious.
She offers
Listen
to.
up.
Yeah, no, it's very in between. I mean, I don't mind paying at all.
Of course you don't mind.
I don't care at all. It doesn't affect me one way or another. It's just, if we're talking about that relationship, in that relationship I felt very unappreciated and not treated right. And that's actually why I got out of it.
Yeah, you can't do that to yourself.
Yeah, right? I'm very happy I'm out of it. But anyway, so yeah, I felt very underappreciated because of that. And I guess that could be like a tie back to it, or I used that memory as an example, I guess. Even though it's not tracing back to that memory specifically, it's, but it's something I'm sure I'm not the only person that has ever dealt with.
Right.
But right now, like in the relationship I'm in right now is the best one I've been in, hands down. It's super easygoing. It's very nice.
Good. Yeah, because I remember being in relationships when I was 19 and I was like, oh, I got it, I'll pay. I'll pay for the movie, I'll pay for this, I'll pay for that, pay for that. Then you get older, you're like, you got money, right? Like, you can help out. It's just, so
I was pay our taxes together, right?
I was just wondering, you being younger and then talking to, just like things are, I guess some things are the same that I'm finding, but also some things are like drastically different. Like I would like I wouldn't pay for everything now. Me being like 27.
Yeah.
And just like no, like we're gonna. I would never come out and say, hey, you know, we go to split this, but.
If it's a bad date, though, you're like, okay, let's split it.
Yeah, yeah, but so yeah, I was just curious about that. If you're
I mean, in the summer, I don't know how I do it, but I worked 4 jobs this past summer at the same time, so I was doing like 14 hours a day. It was dreadful, but I had more money than I knew what to do with, so I paid a fair amount for my tuition. Mm-hmm. I paid for my car and everything, and insurance. But I mean, like beyond that. I don't know, I like going out and doing things with people and being able to, like, oh no, like, I don't even worry about it.
Yeah, it's good to treat people sometimes, yeah.
Exactly.
Very cool. Very cool.
And on top of that, I absolutely love dating. Like, just going on a date with somebody is, like, almost therapeutic for me. I just really enjoy it. So for a period, especially in the summer, I was just going on a bunch of dates, and it was really wonderful. I really enjoyed it. But at the same time, I'm happy to be settled down with like the person I'm with now.
Uh-huh.
So yeah.
Good. I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so this next part, you said you were listening to a lot of sorority noise.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is where this line comes from.
The drop in emotion. Yeah.
I've been sitting here and thinking about killing myself, so I don't have to deal with you. I can be a photo on your shelf, or maybe a picture tacked up sideways, barely holding onto the wall. Yep, go for it.
So, I mean...
break it down.
like break dance, or...
Not yet.
Oh, that's
the microphone's in the way. And there's a lamp. We have to move.
We'll like swap camera angles and everything. So that one, so the turn in emotion is something that I think, for lack of a better word, after I made it, I was able to look back and be like, wow, I'm actually like really proud of being able to, even though there's such a sharp dynamic there between or sharp contrast between like one part and the other part, like seconds apart in the song. I really wanted to. I mean, ultimately, the record is about dealing with emotional distress and not feeling at home, and again, it brings out a couple motifs that are in the record. The photo on the shelf, picture tacked up sideways. So again, it's tying everything together. It's bringing the two parts of the record together in one last verse, and then it leads back into the chorus one more time. So that's kind of the point in there. I mean, again, it can be traced back that whole. I just really enjoy like sitting and thinking of scenarios, and I mean that's a scenario that can be thought about. So
cool. Well, that's the end of your song.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say about it?
I don't think anything else. Yeah, it's the, I guess to summarize here, it's the last song on the record, which is kind of reflected in the title. There's not a single sad bone in my body nor a single happy song on this record, which there actually isn't. And that's just kind of what I meant to do, was combine the motifs of the record of not feeling at home with yourself, the reappearing themes of being a picture on a shelf, an existing problem, and it really pushes personifying this character that I'm attempting to have represent my emotions and like how I was feeling and what I was dealing with, which, as you mentioned, you probably wouldn't have picked up on if you hadn't listened to me talk about this, which is honestly, number one, I'm very happy to be here and like absolutely honored to do this, but two, I'm really happy I was able to do this song, because I felt like if I would have done any other song or done like an older song which have like stories behind them or whatever, that I wouldn't have been able to fully encapsulate like what this is all about and get that point out there for people to find, like, oh hey, like they don't know, like text me like, hey, what's your record about? Is this about me? So I'm really worried when I put it out that a few people might text me like, is this about me? I was like, no, it's not specifically about you. So that's kind of my final words on the record.
Okay. Well, yeah. Thanks for breaking that down.
Thanks for having me.
I really like how it's not personal for the most part, but they're
Yeah.
definitely little bits.
There's like little traces in here and there.
You've definitely got to put, you're putting yourself in here just a tiny, tiny bit, which is very cool. I like that it's a character. I like that you're personifying
Thank you.
these emotions and kind of everything, kind of stepping outside and like just kind of maybe watching it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think it's very cool. I think it's very, very smart. Like I wasn't thinking like that when I was 19 and writing songs.
Yeah.
It was just like, I was like, yeah, this is what's going on. I'm gonna write about it.
Yeah.
But it's cool. I like how you're doing it.
Thank you.
I think it's very, very cool. So, where can people find your music?
I run like a little media recording outlet that I record my friends and stuff. So there's a Bandcamp page called Lazy Dog Recording.
Okay.
It can be, everything is for free on there. To promo someone else who's on here, Nick Adkins can be found on there too.
Baby Nick,
Sweet Boy, the Pure Boy, whatever, Golden Boy. Like someone said recently, I was like, I like that. Stay golden, Pony Boy. On top of that, it can be found at Kevin Has a Drug Problem. Kevin Has a Drug Problem on iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Rdio. If anyone uses Rdio.
No.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, sweet, like, I'm just streaming music for free, but what the hell is Rdio?
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it can be found there. The record comes out like late January, early February. I'm playing a show in Akron with Sinai Vessel.
Cool.
January 29th, so that's coming up at Full Mansion. A bunch of other really good bands playing that. I'm pretty sure Ghost Slime is on that show.
Oh,
so
cool.
I'm excited for that. And yeah, that's about it. That's about where everything can be found.
Awesome. So you feel good?
I feel really good.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks again for coming down.
Thanks for having me. This has been wonderful. You have a gorgeous home. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. It's my parents' house.
I mean, your parents have a great home then.
Thank you. They just let me live here.
That's how I feel.
Well, cool. Thanks for watching episode number 4 of Write Songs, You Idiot. Alex, thanks again.
Thanks for having me.
coming down. You got to get you out of here. There is going to be a snowstorm. Probably.
Yeah.
Your mom's worried sick.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks
you
again.